Alrighty, good evening ladies and gentlemen, this is Harry Muppet. Welcome back to another Starcraft 2 Daily Masters. Going to be checking out an awesome game right here. It is once again from the WCS Grand Finals. A lot of games are going to be coming out of that tournament. I just had a look, there's like half-hour games in there, there's 25-minute games in there. Usually I struggle to find a lot of those, but they're all over the place in this tournament. So you're going to be casting a lot of games. So you might end up seeing like a lot of matchups like Polt versus SOS. There's probably 3 or 4 good games in there that I can cast just between those two. So you're going to see a lot of repeats. I will try and mix it up with WCS Season 1 for 2014. So we don't just see the same 16 people over and over again. But you will see a lot of these guys, definitely. So anyway, let's check out the players up the top left side of the map. It is Mr. Polt. He is 25 years old from South Korea, of course, and sponsored by the CM Storm and iBuyPower teams. And once again, I have mentioned this before I started casting these games, but only one non-South Korean player made it into the WCS Grand Finals. Only one foreign player, and that was Naniwa. And I think he's off the top of my head, I think he was, I'm not even going to say off the top of my head because I'm going to screw it off. I believe it was either Sweden or Switzerland. I always get those two countries confused, but I think he's from one of them. Maybe he's from Finland. Oh god, I'm losing it right here. Maybe he was from Denmark. Maybe he was from Holland or the Netherlands, or I don't know. I'm actually from the Netherlands originally. My grandparents emigrated over here, but I can never remember. Holland or the Netherlands, is it like one of those things where Russia used to be like the USSR and then it was the Soviet Union, or is it the Soviet Union? I think it's Russia now, when they became, you know, when they stopped being a communist and all that sort of thing. I'm assuming they're not communists anymore. I'm pretty sure they're not. But a lot of dodgy stuff just goes rattling around in my brain, and it's just bad. But I'll tell you what, man. I actually had a couple of other really awesome things because I got things going on in my head, and I like to say them at the start of the game because there's not much going on. And I had 2 really cool things I was going to say, but now we've got this other thing about Soviet Russia, and that sort of popped into being, and now I mean, I've run out of time. Basically, stuff is actually happening that I actually have to go out and commentate about, so I can't talk about all that other interesting stuff. So I will say one of them. All right, I will say it because it is awesome. Go watch some old movies. The one in particular, it doesn't seem like it's an old movie, but it actually is. Armageddon, back in like in 2000 or 1998, the very late 90s. All of those awesome action movies, stuff like Armageddon. It's absolutely nuts, man. It's just because that was the phase when every single action movie had lots of comedy and lots of overblown action sequences that really just, they're completely insane. And the reason I like those movies so much is, first of all, A, because they're awesome, and B, because I've been reading a lot of reviews about modern day action hero, modern day movies that are just like that. Like, I saw White House Down last year. I thought it was a spectacular movie, just really funny. It was just like those old movies, so lots of stupid action scenes, lots of comedy. And then you go online and you read all the reviews for Armageddon. It's like, this movie is great, this movie is awesome, blah blah blah, this movie is fantastic. Go read the reviews for White House Down. Everybody's bagging the crap out of it. They say this is bad, that is bad, storyline doesn't make sense, this isn't realistic, blah blah blah. And I'm like, where did it all go wrong? When did stupid action movies with comedy and over-the-top action and no realism at all, when did they go from being the most awesome thing you could watch to being dodgy? I mean, to being rated like 2 and 1 and 0. I understand there's a lot of haters out there. There's a lot of people who just like to be dicks and like to crap on stuff that everybody else does. I understand that, but still, there seems to be a little bit too much of that going on for it to just be dicks out there. I mean, I know there's a lot of dicks out there, but am I going to get censored? Is this going to be adult rated for saying dicks too much? I said it again. Oh god. But anyway, you guys. So that's that's why I said, you know what, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch some of those movies just because they're awesome. I mean, it's sort of like, okay, I should probably get into the game at some point, but I'll finish this thought, then we'll start casting, I promise. But it's sort of like, for me, it's the James Bond, where you're going from Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig. Now, I didn't like Daniel Craig at the start. I thought it was a little bit too grisly, and I loved Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. He's just so smooth. He always said the right thing. He was always cool. Daniel Craig's a little bit more... He's a very, very gritty James Bond, and he doesn't have that cool, suave sort of way about him. He's sort of got it a little bit, but whereas Pierce Brosnan would say something really snappy, Daniel Craig would just be like, whatever, just shoot him in the head and then go blow up some stuff, which Pierce Brosnan would do, but he'd do it a lot. I mean, alright, GoldenEye riding around a tank in the middle of Russia, and he's got this little bit where he's sort of adjusting his tie as he crushes some cop cars. All I'm saying is that's sort of, I mean, Daniel is like the embodiment of the old movies versus the new movies, where Pierce Brosnan was just stupid gadgets, stupid action, funny, completely over the top, and Daniel Craig is more gritty, is more realistic, and yeah, more, not so much for the crazed action fan, more for the person who just wants to, you know, who actually wants something they have to think about, who wants something they can say, well, yeah, you know, it's more of a, it's not just, you know what I mean, it's not just pure fun action. There's actually got to be something a little bit grittier in it, something a little bit deeper in it. So yeah, and there's not a lot of movies out there like that anymore, which is just pure fun for the sake of pure fun. And I don't know, man, I do miss some of them. I do. So that's me wasting the first 10 minutes of this video talking about that. But we're getting into the good bit now. So let's start doing a quick recap. So we've got a third base coming down from Mr. SOS. It does look like Mr. Polt's starting to build a third base. Over here, he's doing pretty good. Nobody's lost a base so far. Mr. Polt is going for a bunch of Triple M. He's doing a pretty good job. He's a little bit behind on the macro, which is fine because SOS is pushing out the bases a little bit faster. Chrono boosting workers. We do have a medevac, a bunch of these guys. Upgrade wise, he's just about to finish one weapons, getting all the upgrades he needs, pumping out some more barracks, which is really, really nice. Facing off against SOS, who has got some storms early in the piece. Very nice play, very much asserting himself. So SOS, definite points for going for the early tech he needs. He's got a lot of Zealots, he's got a lot of High Templar, we have Zealot legs, and this is a combination which I really, really like early to mid-game. And it's a very strong mid-game combination. You get the Zealots in, you get the High Templar, Zealots run in, absolutely crack the Marines, the Marauders. They're trying to hold off, they got Zealots in their face, they're trying to hold off. Some Stim Micro might save them, boom, down comes the Storms. The Terrans are like, WTF, mate, WTF. And absolutely, completely get screwed. So that is the play that we're going for here, and I really like it from Mr. SOS. The downside to this play that I could potentially see is the viability of the drop action from Mr. Polt. He lifts them up, he pulls them away. There we go. There's not that much anti-air action going on from Mr. SOS, and that's something that he may need to work on later on, because he's going to own them when they're on the ground, but they lift into the medevacs, they fly away, and he doesn't kill anything, which is very... Look at this guy, he's just hanging around forever, man. That's nuts. An Oracle, actual Oracle coming over. Oh, there is a missile turret, so that's not going to be good. But here we go. Do we have a missile turret over here? No, we don't. This is open season right here. Needs to get an Oracle over there and just shred everything. We do have Colossus coming on. There we go. The Overseer or the Observer, whichever one it is, finally seeing this. But yeah, anti-air, I'm a little bit worried about that because the drop ships are going to be lifting these guys to safety constantly. And yeah, that is going to be quite crazy. So, yeah. I think if you lift a unit up and it's under a medevac, that the unit stops taking damage, but the medevac probably does. So, medevacs have a ton of health though. I think they can probably take it. So, here we go. Bunch of Zealots. Well, must have been a Warp Prism somewhere. Getting in there, getting involved, taking out a fair amount of workers. We do have 32 units lost, 34 units lost for Polt, only one for SOS. So he did a great start off with his army composition. and followed it up with some great harassment, destroying a ton of workers. Down to 37 under 69. I think this game is probably a bit of a foregone conclusion at this point. Polt doesn't have the macro. He doesn't have the third base. He lost that already. And I really, really do not see how he can possibly win this game. I mean, it's not going to happen. Army-wise, he's even, but SOS is at least, I think, going to get some fair trades. And if he doesn't get fair trades, it's because the medevac launches these guys away. So the only thing that Polt can possibly do right now is constant harassment. Constantly hitting workers, constantly taking them out, constantly forcing SOS to pull his army back to defend against the harassments. If he does that, he could possibly get a chance to get a third base down. He's going for the third base now, but he needs to get the harassment. He cannot just sit back and play army versus army with SOS. We do have Colossus out on the field. We've got 3 armor versus 1-1. That's going to be quite scary. There we go. SOS moving on in. Going for the attack right there. Pushing them away quite easily. Polt going to be trying to move the rest of the army in there. No, this thing is dead right now. He's actually... Oh, there's not that much anti-air damage, but still enough. I feel like to have a go. It looks like he's going to go for a flank. Bit of reinforcements going to spot the flank. And suddenly, SOS in a little bit of trouble right here. He's trying to storm his way out. He's doing a pretty good job. His zealot numbers are running low, and the Marauders are taking advantage of that fact. Where is the Mothership Corps to warp these guys out? I do not know. SOS going down, losing Colossus, losing all of his forces to that beautiful flank there. That's an absolutely perfect maneuver from Polt. Absolutely breathtaking strategy from there, and suddenly SOS goes from being in an extremely good position to being quite a bit behind on the army. I mean, he's got the macro advantage, and the macro advantage could potentially still keep him in this game, but I don't know. I mean, Polt has the army advantage. Now is the time where he possibly can think about moving out. He knows he just absolutely slammed that army into oblivion. Now is possibly the time to be thinking about the third base. Oh, here we go. Dropships coming around. Are they going to see the fourth base? Oh, please tell me they're going to see the fourth base. Get over there. Polt, see the fourth base. Oh, this is such a perfect opportunity right here. Oh, it's such a perfect opportunity. He's not going to see it, though. He's boosting straight in for the main. Going over a bunch of Zealots and High Templars. He's going to run into a ton of craziness all over there. He does have enough, actually. The Zealots are really creaming him. He's not going to be able to do much there. He is going to be boosting out of there straight over the fourth base, though. So he is going to see the fourth base, and SOS is going to have a bit of trouble keeping that fourth base alive. I'm pretty sure he's going to lose it. Meanwhile, he's coming back here, sending the Zealots out, doing some storms. He's in a bit more of a favorable position at this point. There is a flank coming in, and Vikings finally out on the field. Beautiful, beautiful stuff there. He's going to pull back, get the Colossus in a bit of a better position. He's starting to see a bit more anti-air here. There we go. 9 Stalkers coming out. Very, very nice. Do not neglect the Zealots, though. You still need a ton of Zealots for your army to work. But he's starting to get into it. Polt, yeah, Polt's doing okay. He's still behind on the workers. And army-wise, SOS has evened it up with some very, very nice macro and some decent army play. He hasn't really done a massive amount of damage to Polt. He's just been evenly trading for the most part. Maybe a little bit better than evenly trading, but yeah, he's been doing pretty good. And Polt, seeing the tables are turning, seeing that he has not been able to break that macro advantage that SOS so skillfully pulled out, he just had to give the GG. He didn't have the army to go against SOS, and he didn't have the macro. So he tried, he really tried there, but SOS shut it down very, very nicely. And yeah, great game by SOS right there. Just everything done very, very nicely. I mean, this drop here, he destroyed, I don't know if this was the only drop that really destroyed like 20 or 30 workers, but so many workers were destroyed, like 44 over 4. That's phenomenal. And I don't know, man. We didn't see that many drops from Polt. I think he was on the back foot for most of the game. SOS constantly moving out, doing stuff. He was constantly all over the field. He was sitting back a little bit, and I'll be honest, there probably were some possibilities where Polt could have pushed out with a fast drop, but he didn't as much. And yeah, they were mostly fighting around the middle of the map. A little bit of harassment here and there. Worked well for SOS, not so much for Polt. And he did end up going down. So that's it. Game done. I hope you enjoyed it. This factory actually survived the battle. I cannot believe it, man. I thought this thing was going to go down. I thought this was destroyed like 10 minutes ago, but apparently it's still... I don't think he would have built another factory and floated it over. I think this is the same one. So there we go. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And there we go. Game done. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another one. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It's been Hairy Muppet.